Where did September go? I don't see him anywhere. Oh, there he is. Okay. I'll give a 30-second warning for us to begin the council meeting. If everyone could please take your seats. Silence your cell phones. Take your seats, please. Okay, we'll give a 5-second warning for getting started. If everyone can please take your seat. 5-second warning to get started. If everyone can please take their seat. Can I remind everyone to please silence your cell phones also? I'll go ahead and call this council meeting to order June 14th, 2022. Could we have I would like to invite Pastor Thor from Valor Christian Center down to offer the invocation this evening.
Well, good evening once again, everybody. I can't believe we're in the middle of June already. My. I just had my 75th birthday, and I'm all excited about that because I'm 3/4 of a century old now. I remember when I told my wife she was a half a century old, she got all upset at me when I said that. But anyway, well, you know, as I look at this town council here, I see excellence. You folks just exude excellence. And I want to give you just 5, I heard I had a half hour to speak this evening, so I'm going to take advantage of that. You don't give a pastor a microphone and expect him to cut it short. 5 facts about excellence. Excellence is always instantly recognized. Excellence is never produces regret or remorse. Excellence never requires replacement. Excellence enables you to focus. And here's my favorite one. Excellence permits the qualified to perform. And that's why all of you exuberate, you know what I'm talking about, the excellence. And I just want to take this opportunity because I don't believe I've done this before, but I would just want to say thank you. Thank you and acknowledge each one of you for investing your time, your talents, your skills, your abilities, all those talents that God has blessed you with to serve the town of Gilbert. And you've made Gilbert what it is today. And I'm happy about that, and I want to just personally thank you for that. Let's pray. Lord, thank you for each member of our town council, and I ask you to give them the wisdom that they need to make the right decisions to move our town forward. And Father God, I just thank you. I give you the praise. I give you the glory. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen and amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Thor. We appreciate your kind words this evening and for you coming out to share that invocation with us. Next, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember September.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Extra special to be able to say the Pledge of Allegiance this evening, where today is Flag Day. We like to make sure that we're paying attention to those things here in our town. Next, I will ask our town clerk to do the roll call, please.
Mayor Bridget Peterson.
Here.
Vice Mayor Amy Yentes.
Here.
Councilmember Scott Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Lauren Hendricks.
Present.
Councilmember Jan Kaprowski.
Here.
Councilmember Scott September.
Here.
And Councilmember Kathy Tilkey.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Thank you, Chevelle, for that. The first item on our agenda this evening is a recognition of a young man that doesn't know that he's going to be recognized. His name is Caden Arnold, and if he and his family would like to come down to the front of the room, I'd like to say a few words about him. Caden was brought to my attention because he's, I think, an extraordinary young man that lives here in our community. He not only enjoys playing piano and electric guitar, he's been a great resource for after-school tutoring for his fellow high school students. He loves riding dirt bikes. Not me, thank you very much. He had a great experience providing service at a food bank. He has published a sci-fi novel called Crusade for Hope that is now available on Amazon. And a week from today, he will report to the Air Force Academy. We wanted to recognize this outstanding student in our community. John Lewis sent your name to me, and I know your parents were trying to keep this a surprise. I don't know if it ended up being a surprise or not, but he had no idea that he was going to be recognized at this evening's meeting. I sent my aide an email yesterday, and I said, you need to email his parents and tell them not to look at the agenda because his name's on the agenda. He said, it's going to be a dead giveaway if he walks in and pulls up that agenda and sees his name. So on behalf of our town council, I thank you for all you've done in our community. Congratulations on going to the Air Force Academy and representing your country and our town. I have a certificate to present to you. This is the first one. A certificate of recognition to you, Caden. And do you know the challenge coin? Do you know the history of the challenge coin? So I'm not supposed to give these out in plastic. I get told that all the time, but I'm going to leave it in the plastic to hand it to you. When someone gives you a challenge coin, you have to shake and accept that coin. That's my challenge coin for the USS Arizona here in the town of Gilbert. We wish you the best of luck. We hope that you'll stay in touch and let us know, or your parents will stay in touch and let us know how you're doing and proceeding and moving forward. Congratulations on writing a book. I have trouble writing a paragraph, so thank you. Congratulations on that, seriously. And I'd love to get a photo with you and your family, if that's possible. Would you like to say something? Yeah. You're a writer. You have to be able to speak.
Oh my gosh. Better at writing than speaking, so Gilbert's awesome. Had a great childhood here. Thank you all for a great town. And it's going to be sad to leave and say goodbye pretty soon, but I'm grateful for all the wonderful people here, and I look forward to defending this country.
Those are the moments in Gilbert that I love the most, the moments that we get to do something for someone that has done a lot in our community and we get to recognize them. That's what keeps the small town feel, no matter how big this community gets. Next up, I would like to invite Chair Les Pressmick down to the podium to give us his presentation and annual update on the Veterans Advisory Board.
Okay, who stole the little clicker? Aha. You got to work harder than that, lady. Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor Yentes, Town Council, I'm here this evening in a very honored position to give you an update on our Veterans Advisory Board. As you know, we started this 2 years ago under your guidance, and I think I have some great things to report. And you stole my thunder for Flag Day. I was going to, talk about the fact that it was 245 years ago today that the Stars and Stripes were approved by the Second Continental Congress. It was 145 years ago that a school teacher decided that we ought to do something about commemorating that day. Anyway. Really, there are a few more slides up there. I do want to congratulate the young man that in 2 weeks is going to be in Colorado Springs. That looks really refreshing, or sounds really refreshing to what it's like here in Gilbert right now. Aha. Okay. So, just to remind you, our Veterans Advisory Board is made up of 7 members. I am the chair. I am the only civilian. And I think that's a good thing because it takes one civilian to keep track and keep the other 6 veterans from doing all kinds of great things for our veterans. I keep them in check in terms of things like open meeting laws and parliamentary procedure, and I give them all the tools that they need to do the great work that they have accomplished. Our council liaisons are Mayor Peterson and Councilmember Tilke. We are the only advisory board in the town of Gilbert that has 2 council liaisons. And our staff liaison is Monica Dortenzio. I actually wanted to put her at the top of this. I know that protocol, means that she should be at the bottom, but she is the glue that keeps us together, and I really want to thank her for everything that she does for us. So when we started out 2 years ago, we put together a strategic plan. Well, there's a piece down there someplace. And we established 3 task force. Each of those were comprised of 3 VAB members and then additional community members to support their efforts. But about 9 months ago, we realized that the ordinance establishing task force in the town is more of a temporary thing, and these are not temporary entities. So we renamed them as subcommittees. Again, the same 3 VAB members, numerous community members that have come on, but we've run into a problem because of open meeting laws. You have 3 VAB members that are the subcommittee members. Outside of an agendized and noticed meeting, they can't talk to one another, because as soon as one talks to the second one, you violated the open meeting laws of the state of Arizona. So just recently, with the help of our town clerk's office, we have redefined our subcommittees into 3 pillars. Each pillar will now be comprised of at least 4 VAB members, which gets us away from the fact that now at least 2 of those members can talk to one another, ostensibly the chair and vice chair, so that they can talk about things like agendas and whatnot. There are some other issues that we're going to have to deal with regarding the absentee policy, but we'll get there. Last month, we also established the chair of the board as an alternate member of each pillar so that we can always make sure that we have a quorum. The three subcommittees, now pillars, that we have. The first one deals with wellness, and that's not just for the veterans, but it's for their families as well. And so the Wellness Committee has an extensive group of community volunteers that have been working with them. They're starting to identify wellness providers, including groups like Be Connected Arizona and the Arizona Department of Veterans Services, and there's a list of another dozen or 15 that they have approved for inclusion on our website. They've also started putting together social gatherings known as military musters. The first one was a little over a month ago at Bergey's Coffee House in downtown Gilbert. We had somewhere close to 40 veterans, ranging from Vietnam all the way up to a couple of recruiters that have only been in the armed service for maybe 6 years. And the toughest, and the one that they're really working hard on, is developing this media presence. How do we get the word out that we have a Veterans Advisory Board in the town of Gilbert? What are the events? What are the things that we can provide to our veterans and their families throughout the town? That's going to, they started by making the website as veterans-friendly as possible, because when we started 2 years ago, there really wasn't a veterans presence on the town's website. It's still not quite where we'd like it to be, but it's really close, with the help of our IT folks and other staff members that have stepped up and really helped us. What we have planned for the coming year is a potential partnership with the Mesa United Way. They have a group that's specific for the veterans, and they're hoping to get that renamed to the East Valley Veterans Resource Center. Right now it's the Mesa Veterans Resource Center. They want to expand the scope of what they're doing, not just to Mesa, but the entire East and Southeast Valley. They're putting together a volunteer interest form. Again, that dovetails into the next bullet point. As I mentioned to the council earlier this evening, we have about 250 email addresses of veterans. There are 11,000 veterans that live in the town of Gilbert, and we'd like to be able to communicate with all of those folks and let them know what's available, what events are coming up, and to invite them to be part of the town's veterans network. Another thing that they're working on is what's called the Employer Job Ready Program. This is where you have veterans that come back, they want to start work, but they may not have the money for all of the tools that they need to start their new job. This organization provides the funding and that equipment, whether it's a computer or personal protective equipment or whatever, free of charge to those veterans. The USS Arizona, just slightly less than a year ago, actually July 4th, 2021, the town council adopted and approved the invitation by Nikki Stratton, the sponsor of the USS Arizona, for the town of Gilbert to be the host town for what will be the newest and most modern nuclear submarine in the naval fleet that will be commissioned in 3 years, 4 years. It's a government job, folks. And it only took 6 years to plan this thing. So we have a USS Arizona pillar group. They've been attending the bi-monthly Legacy Foundation Board meetings. The Legacy Foundation Board is the official 501c3 board that will organize, raise funds, everything related to the USS Arizona, and they are headquartered in Phoenix. In addition, our members of this pillar have attended various events throughout the town, certainly including Memorial Day and Veterans Day, to advertise the USS Arizona and the VAB, but there have been other events, as you can see there, where we're just trying to get the word out. Comment or two on the Legacy Foundation Board. They are working to fill all of the positions on that board. In addition, they're going to be developing and formulating a commissioning committee, and that group will work on all of the activities leading up to the commissioning and the christening of the USS Arizona, and they're working to get their website up and running. The future for this group is we're going to continue working, obviously, with the Legacy Foundation Board. They are the fundraising board, but we want, obviously, as the host town, to be involved with the events and however we can support their efforts. And we hope and expect the government to come through and that we will have the keel laying ceremony on December 7th of this year. The mayor looks like she knows exactly that that's going to happen. Yeah, exactly. And then finally, our third pillar or subcommittee has to do with events. They've been in charge of the Memorial Day event, which has been moved from HD South 2 years ago to Town Hall, well, last year to Town Hall, but because of the construction, we had to move it again back to Park University. Both of those events were very successful, and we're looking forward to being able to put it back on the north side of Town Hall in 2023. Veterans Day, we have moved Veterans Day from Town Hall out to Gilbert Regional very successfully, and the outlook for that is we've got space for 5,000 people, 8,000 people in that amphitheater. We haven't filled it yet, but that's the goal. We awarded our first cadet of the year to the junior ROTC candidate from Higley High, and we just finished a 100th birthday event for a World War II veteran who lives here in the town of Gilbert. That included fire trucks and military vehicles, and all I can say is that it was very successful, and the family and our 100-year-old World War II vet was very, very surprised and very pleased. What's coming up for the events group this year, we're going to have a presence in the Gilbert Days Parade with some military vehicles and members of the VAB, plus other veterans. We're working on a historic district veteran banner project to put veterans' faces and names on the downtown area, a townwide business partnership to offer discounts to our veterans, and we hope this year, for those of us who can't go to the keel laying, that we will be out in the various elementary schools and high schools in the Gilbert Unified School District to get this program started, to talk about the USS Arizona, both the battleship that was sunk at Pearl Harbor, the new USS Arizona, what Pearl Harbor Day means, and why it's important and why we can't ever forget what happened that day. And so we'll be reaching out to 4th and 5th graders and 11th graders because that's where the curriculum fits with these kind of historical items. In addition, the VAB, the Veterans Advisory Board, there were 3 members whose terms end tonight, including myself. There were 18 people that applied, 6 that were selected for interviews. Those interviews took place earlier this evening, and sometime tonight, our town council will appoint the 3 members for a 3-year term. We know that there will be at least 2 new members because 2 of our existing members have stepped aside. I've got my fingers crossed that I impressed enough folks that they will reappoint me, but if they choose somebody else, then I will certainly applaud and abide by that decision. The 4 other folks that I met are all very qualified candidates. It's going to be a tough decision. So next week is our first meeting of the almost fiscal year, and we will elect a new chair and a new vice chair. The town has a policy that I could only serve for 2 one-year terms, and I have served those 2 one-year terms. We have a good vice chair that's ready to step up, and a couple of members that are most qualified to take that vice chair position. And the next 3 bullet points lead us into where we're going to hopefully have a work study session with the council in August so that we can be granted the official authority to do fundraising. We will develop a budget, and we also will need to establish a treasurer's position to oversee that budget. Just so you know, we've already talked to our finance folks. We already have the draft policies and procedures in place for procurement and fundraising and accounting for the money. We will have those ready to present to you ahead of our work study session. And as far as I know, most of the other boards have bylaws. That's something that I think we need to put in place. It's just something to codify and establish the institutional memory of our board and what we've done. And of course, the VAB, even though we'll all be intimately involved with the 3 pillar groups, we need to continue to support those efforts. So with that, that's my report to the council this evening. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Chair Presmick. Any comments or questions from anyone? That was a lot of information. We appreciate the coverage of the VAB and everything that you're doing for the community and for our veteran community, especially.
And I know I'm speaking on behalf of the board again. I want to thank you for all the support that you have provided to us over the last 2 years between staff and the other resources of the town, and like the regional park and Park University. Those we couldn't do it without you. And I've never been told no yet. And I certainly don't expect that to happen. Councilmember September, did you have a...
Oh, did you have a question?
Oh, then he was just waving it. All right, again, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Les. Moving on to our next item on our agenda. It's a proclamation recognizing the 2021 WaterWise Gilbert honorees. Will be presented by Councilmember Scott Anderson.
Jeff, Lauren, your team, if you want to make your way down here, feel free. While they're on their way down, let me just say, I'm sure you are all reading about in the media the critical stage that the Colorado River is in providing water resources to our valley. And it's because of teams such as this one, and it's because of individuals in our community, and it's because of the 119, is it? Businesses and organizations and so forth in our community that are conserving water, that we're able to say that we're not panicking about the shortage on the Colorado. We're taking actions. We have been taking action for some time. As a matter of fact, I do believe that on a per capita basis, we here in the valley, I know in Gilbert, are probably using less water now than we did how many years ago? Do you know? In the valley, in the last 50 years, we're using less water than during that time. So, and it's because of efforts such as this team and also the people we're honoring tonight in this proclamation. So let me read a portion of the proclamation and have you guys, if you'd like to say a few things. Lauren, I know you probably would like to say something. Sure. Okay. WaterWise Gilbert 2021 honorees, whereas water is our most precious natural resource on earth, and especially within the desert. And whereas the stewardship of Gilbert's water resources and its balanced and responsible use lies with the town council, town staff, residents, businesses, stakeholders, and whereas Gilbert's Office of Water Resources and Conservation implemented many water efficiency programs that aid Gilbert's residents, businesses, and other organizations with the conservation of water. Whereas every water conservation effort makes a difference in the sustainability of this precious natural resource, and a great number of participants have completed the necessary steps to becoming more water efficient. Now, therefore, I, along with the Gilbert Town Council, honor the 119 businesses, organizations, and facilities that have attained the WaterWise Gilbert status for 2021, and I welcome each of you here in the audience tonight to join me not only expressing our gratitude for their contribution to sustainability, but also in doing all you can to preserve our water resources in your home, at work, and in the community. So I'm Bridget Peterson, Mayor of the Town of Gilbert. So congratulations.
If we have any recipients in the audience, you're welcome to come on down. We're very grateful for your partnership. We couldn't do this without you. We couldn't do this without our awesome water conservation team and the support of Mayor and Council, so and the rest of Gilbert staff. So come on down and we'll get a photo.
Now, this is the first year we're back in person, so we weren't sure how many we were going to get, but all of the stakeholders out of all the awardees have been invited. So, and then for anyone who might be watching remote and anyone who's here today, if you haven't gotten a sign for your site, you are able to get some signs to let your residents, and if you're a commercial site, your customers know that you're doing a great job on your landscape water management. So, give me a call.
Great work, everyone. Thank you, Councilmember Anderson. Moving on to our next portion of our agenda is communications from citizens. I'll pass the mic to the Vice Mayor.
Yes, and we only have one request to speak tonight, Mayor. And just for edification of the audience, the communications from citizens portion on the agenda provides citizens an opportunity to identify for the town council matters of interest or concern related to town government that are not on the printed agenda. Under the provisions of Arizona open meeting law, the town council is prohibited from responding to issues that are not properly noticed. Therefore, the town council may only listen to citizens who wish to address them on non-agenda items. We regret we cannot respond, but beyond thanking you for your comments, and the town asks that when your name is called, you come forward to the podium and state your name and place of residence, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. And I think our only speaker is Bill Straight.
Thank you, Bill. We appreciate that. That ends our communications from citizens and moves us into the consent agenda. Vice Mayor?
Yes, we have 2 items, 16 and 17, that's been requested to be pulled. Were there any other items not captured that the council wishes to pull? Seeing none, item 16 is the CIP, and I know we've talked about this in previous meetings and just want to have a separate vote on this. Yep. If there's, Councilmember Toki? We'll do the mass motion afterward. We'll do 16 and we'll do 17, then we'll do the mass motion. Seeing none, is there a move to approve item 16?
Yeah, so moved.
Second.
All vote.
first vote of the night. We have people logged out. Mine actually worked. Thank you. But it doesn't show. Mine says it worked, but it doesn't show up there.
Get back into that regular meeting building fast enough. Motion carries 6-1. Item 17, I think this was requested by Councilmember Kaprowski and at request of a staff presentation.
Yes, I'd like to bring this to the meeting tonight because although each of us individually have probably had some briefings and information about the ambulance rates, I wanted to ask staff to provide some information so that we can just educate the public about specifically a couple items, how long since the rates were last changed, who these rates impact, and how the revenue is used.
Assistant Chief Bob Badgett, are you headed to the podium? Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to come up here and talk to you today about the ambulance fee request. As most of you are aware, we got our CON to operate ambulances in 2017, and our rate has been the same since 2017. I got it right. Over that period of time, when we originally got our rate, we were on par with all the other providers in Maricopa County, both public and private. We never went back and asked for an additional rate increase because we didn't need it at the time. So since 2017, there has been a pretty significant gap that's been created between what Gilbert charges for their ambulance service fees and the rest of the valley for the most part. We've come forward today to ask for a rate increase. We're recommending option 1, which is a guaranteed rate increase by DHS. All we have to do is send them a letter. We'll talk about what that is here in a second. Number 2, option 2 would be a little trickier. We would have to go for a rate adjustment hearing with DHS, a little more complex, but more importantly, looking at our financial situation, it's not a rate that we need to charge our residents. I will tell you that rate 2 that's on your sheet is what is being charged by most of Maricopa County. All the private providers and most of the municipalities are at that much higher rate. For a little bit of reference, we currently, I'm just going to talk about ALS rates, so we can talk briefly. We are $200.20 cheaper per transport right now. In addition, we don't charge for supplies, which the other providers do. And based on our average trip distance, we're about $50 cheaper in mileage fees. So overall right now, we're $251 cheaper than any other provider in the area. If we get option 1, which we've requested, we will still be just under $132 cheaper for transporting our citizens than anybody else in the region. The reason we came forward with option one, and when we came before council several years ago to get this request, we promised that we would look at rates based on the needs of our citizens, not a more global look at what everybody else can possibly charge. And that's what we're here to do today. Based on our payer mix, we are very fortunate to live in a great community. Our reimbursement rates are higher than we anticipated. Our call volume is higher than we anticipated. And we don't need to charge what the others are charging. So with that, that's why we came forward with the request for option one. There was a lot of information here. I will tell you, one of the common questions we have is what will we do with the revenue? First and foremost, we are treating this, while it is a sub-fund and not an enterprise fund, with the budget office, we are treating this as very similar to an enterprise fund, and you will be getting verbiage and clarification over the next couple months to codify that so that it is in our financial policies. We initially will fund the minimum fund balance, which is 3 months of ongoing operating expenses. That'll be the primary use of any excess revenue that we collect. After we meet our minimum fund balance, we will then move forward and begin paying off the initial $3 million general fund loan at a much faster rate. We will be making payments on that general fund loan now and ongoing. It'll just allow us to accelerate those approximately 2 to 3 years sooner. So that is where that money would go. If after all of those are caught up and we're back down to a manageable level, this council would again to choose that we don't need to raise rates in the future. In fact, we could even potentially, and I don't know if this could happen, potentially lower them. But we look at the needs and the financial situation of this subfund specific to the town of Gilbert and our citizens. So we control when we go to DHS, and they control yes or no, but we get to control when we go for the ask. Are there any other questions on that?
No, thank you. And then I think my understanding is that these fees are only paid for by the people that are using the service. And do you have a percentage of how much of the population has insurance that's paying for this?
Mayor, Councilmember, I do actually. I was kind of glad you asked that because I wrote it down. I'm going to ballpark this up. Sorry, I can't find the actual numbers, but we are very fortunate in the town of Gilbert. Our uninsured rate is around 7%, give or take. It changes a little bit each month. We're in the mid-20s on our private provider insurance. We're in the mid-20s on our Medicaid insurance, and we're in the mid-40s on our Medicare insurance. These rates will not impact Medicare. Those are negotiated through the federal government, so those are fixed. The Medicaid rates are also a negotiated rate. So really this is going to apply to our privates, and we will see an increase in the Medicaid because it's tied to this rate. We really don't budget any money or any revenue stream for the uninsured because it really doesn't generate any real revenue to speak of. So, and yes, back to your point earlier, this is 100% funded by the user. Outside of the initial $3 million loan to get it up and running, which we're paying back, this is funded by people who use this line of service.
Thank you so much.
Any additional questions?
Bob, could you explain, sorry, I was all excited about it and then I forgot my question because I was trying to figure out what to call you, Bob or Assistant Chief. Yeah. The rate that we're reviewing today still does not charge for supplies, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Mayor, Councilmember Tsuki, that is correct. The town of Gilbert has always, even prior to having a CON, we absorb those costs in our model. It's just a cost of doing business for us, and it's been part of our base budget since we were founded. So that is maintained. We do have that option going forward. If we choose to do that, that's another option for revenue in the future if council agrees that they'd rather go that path than raise the base rate. But yeah, there's no charge right now to our citizens for the supplies that we use in those emergency situations.
Thank you. If there are no further questions, we will consider a motion.
I'll move to approve item 17 to consider adoption of a resolution approving an updated option number 1 fee schedule increase for ambulance transportation billing rates.
I second all that.
I'll vote. Motion carries 6-1. And with that, we'll take a look at the rest of the consent agenda items. And considering items 4 through 15, 18 through 21, and then we'll move up agenda item 26. And if Councilmember Tilke would like to read that particular item.
Thanks, Vice Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to appoint Charles Dine, Lori Ghana Barkley, and Les Presmick to the Veterans Advisory Board as regular members with terms beginning June 16, 2022 and ending June 15, 2025. Sorry, it wasn't a typo, sorry. Okay, that's the motion.
Great, motion and a second.
Second.
All vote. And motion carries unanimously. That's all for our communication or our consent agenda, Mayor.
Thanks, Vice Mayor. Moving into our public hearing items on our agenda this evening, we have 2 that are related to budget. Would the council like a short presentation, or would you just like Kelly Fost to come to the podium for questions?
Mayor, are you referring to 22 and 23?
Excuse me, 22 and 23. Yes.
Thank you.
Both for budget. I'll open the public hearing and ask Kelly Fost to please come down to the podium. We went through this whole topic.
Mayor,
yes.
Members of the council, these are PKID budgets?
Right.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes. They're both budget on the agenda without me having to read that whole long paragraph. So, yes, the
Mayor,
2 budget items.
I wasn't asking for a presentation. I was just acknowledging that it was 22.
Okay. Thank you. Kelly, we may not need you at this point in time. I'll go ahead and close the public hearing, bring it back to the council. Do we have any comments or questions or discussion here at the council level? Seeing none, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember September, seconded by Councilmember Anderson. Please vote. Motion passes 6-1. Now I will recess the regular meeting and convene a special meeting to have our budget discussion, conduct a hearing, and consider adoption of the ordinance setting the secondary property tax levy for FY 2023. And item number 25, budget, conduct a hearing, consider adoption of our final budget. Open the public hearing. Council members, would you like a presentation, or would you like to ask Kelly some questions? This is our second budget meeting on both of these items. Short presentation, Kelly. Highlights, Kelly, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Happy to give highlights. We also have a budget video that we usually debut that we would love to show you if you have just a moment.
That'd be amazing.
Highlights for the citizens, some of the things that we would expect to see that they would interact with in the upcoming year should the budget be passed. The wizard behind the curtain is working diligently.
Gilbert's new budget is helping shape a new tomorrow today. In the coming year, Gilbert will be using voter-approved bonds to start work on about $200 million of new transportation projects. These projects include intersection improvements, road reconstruction, a bridge connecting Ocotillo Road near Gilbert Regional Park, and more. Gilbert will also be working on 12 new traffic signals to help with traffic flow as we grow. The North Water Treatment Plant project is the biggest capital improvement project in Gilbert's history. It will help the community's water distribution needs and conservation efforts now and into the future. Other improvements you will notice around town will include additional shade at Cosmo Dog Park, new sand at the McQueen and Freestone volleyball courts, resurfaced tennis courts at McQueen and Freestone parks, new cardio equipment at Freestone Rec Center, renovations at Perry Pool, and continued streetlight conversion to LED to save on power costs. Gilbert Town Hall will reopen after renovations, and council meetings will return to the council chambers. Over the past 2 years, nearly 15,000 new residents have moved to Gilbert, and businesses have opened and expanded, adding 7,800 new jobs. To keep up with demand, 19 new positions will be added to the Gilbert Fire and Rescue Department, and the Police Department will be adding 24 new positions. For more information on how Gilbert's budget is helping shape a new tomorrow, visit gilbertaz.gov/budget.
Lots of exciting potential things in the future. We would release that tomorrow if the budget is passed or make any changes to align with that. I'm also happy to give numbers presentation if that is what you're looking for as well. Okay. There we go. All right. Tonight we are here to talk about the final budget adoption. And if you'll click the first one for me, I think that the clicker will work after that. Lots of new learning everywhere in the town. We've got some fun new people to help us. Perfect, thank you. All right, as we know, Gilbert is best in class, and there are lots of wonderful accolades that are happening throughout the town. Best city for remote workers, second best city for first-time home buyers, second safest city in the United States. Gilbert has a lot of great things going for it. We also do our zero-based results as part of our budget process. This year we had several departments in the general fund, wastewater fund, fleet, and our self-insurance funds who participated in that. We do a third of the organization every year. That did produce just over $560,000 in savings for this year. So our grand total since 2018 is $9.2 million. So you can see here we work on our zero base every year and work with the various departments to create the savings each year for the taxpayers. Budget process starts in mid-September every year. We work through a rigorous process with our executive team and staff and town manager's office. Come to council in April for a study session, preliminary budget in May, and then final adoption is in June, which is what we're here for tonight. As you're aware, the preliminary budget sets the maximum amount, so our final budget cannot be any more than what we approved at preliminary budget. For the recommended positions, there are 79 positions that are recommended for the upcoming year across all of the different funds. The majority are in the police and fire area. 24 new positions in police and 19 new positions in fire requested. We can see how that compares with our other surrounding jurisdictions for how many full-time employees we have per 1,000 residents. We have to compare to last year's numbers because everyone just like us is working on their current budgets, so we can't compare with what they are currently working to adopt. But as you can see, with the 79 new positions, that would move us up to about 6 FTE per 1,000 population, which is still lower than our surrounding communities. We get a lot done with a few people. Our capital improvement projects is the largest area of growth in our budget. Just about $1 billion of projects are planned for next year. Most of that growth is in our streets and in our water, where we just did bonds for those projects. So you can see the carry forward amounts are projects we're continuing to work on, about $360 million of projects. And then for the new projects, there's the $200 million new streets projects, which correlate with the bonds. And then the $400 million of water improvement projects will be starting on the bonds that were just approved in the Water Resource Municipal Property Corporation area. Total budget, there is a difference on the operating side, about $60 million, and then about $700 million total. As we just talked about, most of that increase is in the capital improvement side. The property tax has a proposed levy of the $29.6 million, which will be needed for the debt service payments in the upcoming year. It does keep the tax rate at the 99 cents per $100 of assessed value, which we've been kept for about 5 years now. So we had our study session in April. We discussed the preliminary budget in May, and then tonight we have final budget. And then we break for July and enjoy our summer. Happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Kelly. Any questions for Kelly at this time? Any comments?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a comment. I mean, you're going to start the next budget review in a couple months. That's how much work this is. That's how long the process is.
That's correct. We'll work in July and the beginning part of August in getting all of the budget and CIP documents compiled and printed and onto the website. And then we kick off the next budget cycle beginning of September.
So it's like a 9-month process. It's a lot of work. I don't want to do something fun for 9 months. That's impressive. Thank you, Kelly.
And that includes, like Kelly mentioned, a third of the organization going through the zero-based budget process every single year. So that's on top of everything else going through with the budget. And I call it Hunger Games because each department has to come in with the wants and desires of each department and have to kind of fight their way through to see if they make it through the process and to the town manager before they make it even to council. And it is a lot of work. Thank you for pointing that out, Councilmember September, that they will be starting this process all over again in less than 2 months. Councilmember Anderson.
Who's up to be in the zero-based budgeting next year? Do you know?
That is a fantastic question. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I can email you after.
Police, fire.
Police, fire. They're some of our big departments.
Okay.
So they'll have a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Just those 2 departments. Wow. I mean, that's more than half of our staff, isn't it? About half of our staff is public safety. Councilmember Silke.
Thank you, Mayor. Kelly, I just want for the public to understand that as we approve a budget, it is the maximum. We can't spend more than that, but it doesn't mean that we will spend it all. What happens throughout the year is these items come back to the council and we prioritize those and give approval for spending money as we go through. Is that correct?
Yes, Mayor, Councilmember Tilke, that is correct. We have contingencies in there that have to be approved by council, but it does allow us that flexibility if opportunities come up during the year that we can take advantage of those opportunities. And then on the capital improvement side, we want to make sure we have the money to back up any of the contracts that we sign, and those are some large contracts. So although not all of the work will get completed during the year, we have enough money for the full contracts that we sign with our different vendors to be able to pay that.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and bring it back to the council for discussion. Thank you, Kelly. Council members? Discussion? Motion? It's up to you. As so the public knows, we pointed out that we did a financial retreat earlier this year. We have had individual meetings with, like myself and Kelly met and her team to go over everything that was in the budget. We had a study session on the budget, and then we had a preliminary budget meeting about a month ago before we get to this point this evening. And as was mentioned, the preliminary budget set the amount. We can't go higher than that amount now that we have set that at the preliminary meeting. Tonight we could only decrease that if we wanted to, but we can't increase that at all. That's what happens at the regular budget meeting. Any comments, questions, or a motion? Vice Mayor.
Just a couple quick comments. I swear I don't try to be the wet blanket in the room. This is my 4th and final budget. Having the opportunity to serve up here and appreciate the professionals that are on this dais. I really do appreciate the professionals that work for the town. You know, my criticisms, I often do pull items off the agenda. I'm also, you know, often scrutinizing about costs or what I think is overpaying or waste. But it's not meant to be demoralizing. It's not meant with malice. It's just I have a very deep conviction that the more money we can keep in taxpayers' pockets, the better. And I appreciate that the town really does strive for excellence. I do think we have high quality professionals. I never want my you know, my thoughts and opinions to be misconstrued as not appreciating or respecting the work that the professionals do in this organization. There's just some key areas that I think I deviate from as far as, you know, maybe our roadmap for spending, and sometimes those values and sometimes those priorities take precedence over, you know, all the other things that maybe the 95% of the things that just get passed on agendas that we have no problem agreeing with. You know, I don't take exception to a lot of the things that we spend money on. I understand and appreciate the fact that we have to fund government to a level that provides services that people expect, and to make sure that, you know, water comes out of the faucets and roads get fixed, and, you know, somebody responds when you call for an emergency. So I say all that just to couch my comments in a fair way, so that people know that this isn't meant out of any disrespect. But I do have there's a lot of things that I love that we do. I love the innovation. I love the, you know, the leadership at the you know, management level, that always striving to try to push the envelope on some of those things, and you know, be visionary in those ways. The aspects that I take exception to are, you know, some of the cultural things that I see within our organization. I have a lack of confidence in specifically one of the things that's most important to me on how we spend money correctly is in transportation. I'm concerned with the direction some of that is going, so I don't feel comfortable supporting a budget that, you know, is going to redefine, reimagine, redesign our streets and make it more congested in the future. I'm not supportive of putting money into studies that are going to bring, you know, additional public transit that nobody's going to ride. These are some of the areas I've talked for a couple of years of trying to, you know, right size our Gilbert Digital. I think we've had endeavors that have taken years that have not been a good use of taxpayer money. Quite frankly, I'm a little bit concerned with some of the, I guess, verging on social policy, whether it was the trying to change our benefits to, you know, subsidize, you know, sex changes in our community. I see, you know, lots of our staff has pronouns on their email signatures. Some of these things are cultural, where I don't think are particularly reflective of our community at large. And it concerns me in some of the decisions going forward. And then I'll just say that, you know, as a backdrop to all of this, everybody's obviously feeling the squeeze of inflation. I think we're heading toward, you know, probably a pretty significant recession, and, you know, an almost 70% increase in spending is, even though a lot of that I understand is coming from those bond monies, is concerning. And I was never opposed to having a transportation bond. I know I made some suggestions on maybe halving that, but these are the things that I see us anticipating and dealing with as an organization, as a community. And I just wish, you know, we had taken a look at this as, you know, maybe an opportunity to reduce spending overall. I understand the needs that the department's put forward, but our taxpayers have needs, and that's just where I'm coming from. It's not meant to be disparaging. I really do appreciate the work that everybody does. It's just a little bit different, you know, perspective and philosophic opinion. So with that, it's been fun working with everybody. And again, it's my last budget meeting. Maybe there's lots of sighs of relief in the audience, but I have enjoyed it, and I really do appreciate the thing that I love most about this is serving taxpayers. So that's Those are just my remarks, so appreciate the time, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'm going to say, from my perspective, and I've served with you the longest, I think, of anybody up here, I don't think you've ever come off as disrespectful in any way. I think that we always know what your perspective is and where you are coming from, and you do a fine job in relaying that information, why you're doing it. And I agree with you on several of the points that you made. One point that you made about the study to bring public transportation is not accurate, so I want to just speak to that one. We are not doing a study about bringing public transportation. We were looking at a study for the two pieces that we have reserved for potential multimodal locations in the future, if, when, and how that commuter rail potential pedestrian rail comes through Gilbert on a trail, on a track that's already in Gilbert. So we have two pieces of property that we were going to study as to whether or not we should keep those. It was no way looking at if commuter rail should be coming to Gilbert. That's not what the study was. And then the transportation bond. I understand your concern with the amount of the transportation bond, and I just want to point out to the residents that are here, we voted on that and passed it, and I realize it didn't pass by a lot, but it still passed, and it was for $515 million. We are not bonding all of that money at one time. We asked for permission to bond those funds from now and into the future. The last time we did an infrastructure bond was 2007, and we used up all of those funds, and we squeaked every last dime out of those bond funds that we could, and it was long overdue for us to have something to handle infrastructure in this community. And so those are the two things that I just differ with you on, but most of what you said otherwise, I agree with you. I think culturally there are some things that we have some discussions that we should have within our staff, but that's not our purview. If it's purview of this council to look at policy to pass down to the town manager, then we should be doing that. And you have, not to give you a deadline, but you have about 6 months left. So this isn't your last meeting tonight, Vice Mayor. You have about 6 months left with our month off in July. So we can have those conversations if you would like to. Any other comments? Councilmember Tilkey, did you have? Anyone else? I would accept a motion if somebody would like to make one, and I don't see anybody.
Are we doing both?
I would do one at a time, please.
I'll make a motion to approve budget item number 24.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Tilkey, seconded by Councilmember Kaprowski. Please vote. Councilmember Kaprowski, did you press vote? That's okay. Motion passes with a 5-2 vote. Next item.
Move to approve item 25.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Scott September, seconded by Councilmember Scott Anderson. Please vote. Motion passes 5-2. And again, to our team, that's a long process. 9 months is a long process to be working on one item, and I thank you for all the time and effort and the Hunger Games portion of it that you all put yourselves through to bring us the best product that you can bring us. I appreciate the opportunity to sit with you one-on-one and to have my voice heard before it gets to this point. I don't think that people really realize how many opportunities we have to talk about these issues before they get in front of the town council for a final vote. And I appreciate all of the opportunities that you provide to us along the way. Kelly, you're a rock star. Thank you. And your team. I know, because you never want to take the credit all on your own, and your team. So thank you very much. I will adjourn the special meeting and reconvene our regular meeting. We have administrative items, boards, commissions, and committees. Any reports from council liaisons? Seeing none, I will move to communications. Report from the town manager on current events.
Mayor, members of the council, thank you. I want to recognize the town of Gilbert was recognized with the Spirit of Mercy Award, which recognizes a person or organization who has been an incredible sponsor to Mercy Housing Southwest, Page Commons, and has a direct impact on the residents that we serve. We were specifically recognized for financial support through AZ Cares to help a mini mart on site for the residents who are not able to go out into the community, and helping to connect needs of residents to available resources. Fire crew provided pizzas for all and delivered slices door to door. And Councilmember Kaprowski and Mark Justice with Gilbert Fire and Rescue attended the awards ceremony to accept on the town's behalf, along with Melanie Dykstra. I'm very appreciative of all the efforts and the recognition for their work. That's all. Thank you.
That's all you have. Thank you, Patrick. Any reports from council members on current events? Seeing none. I actually don't have anything to report at this time either. We will see you all on June 28th for our final meeting of this fiscal year. Meeting adjourned.